Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Lamed Zayin Lamed Aleph. We're starting from Lamed Vav and Beis. The Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah. Sanhedrin, a Sanhedrin of 71 Dayanim, and the same thing. The Sanhedrin Ketana of 23 Dayanim. Hoisa, they would sit kachatzi goyden agula, like a semicircle, a half a circle, and the Dayanim, in order that the Kadesha Yehi so the Dayanim could see each other, and also. And also the people
this
who are being
23 and 71. Right?
Both. We just said both. Yeah, and the people who are being done also sat in the semicircle, so you could see the expressions. Everybody around. They sat probably in the center, and they were able to see their expressions.
That's how they have it when they have a congressional hearing.
Okay.
The guys sit around.
Got it.
The congressmen.
All right.
The people that are here
have to testify, and they testify in front of the whole place. Yeah. So they should see each other. And you had the two, I don't know what they call it, stenographers. They were standing in front. One stood on the right, one stood on the left. And they would write, but each one would write what Mechayven.
The people sitting here, so one right on this side, one this side.
Right, but they both wrote those that were Mezak and Mechayev with the Svars. And the purpose was that just in case one made a mistake, so the other one you would be able to check it out with the second one.
Who paid them?
I don't know. It's part of the Bezdin when you come into Bezdin.
Sanhedrin didn't get paid.
Yes, I stop. Yehuda says Shloisha. There were three stenographers. One wrote only those that were mezaka with their svars. Another stenographer wrote only those that are convicting with their svaris. Third one wrote both. They would be able to check out double check what they wrote. There were three rows that sat before the Sanhedrin Ketana. Sanhedrin Ketana consisted of 23. Yeah. The three benches, Rashi says, each row had to have at least 23. Cannot have more, because then they would look more chashuv than the Dayanim themselves, those Talmidim that sat before the Dayanim. So they had to be 23. They couldn't be less than 23 because it's a bizayon to sit with the benches less. So they had to have minimum 23. But the problem is, what did you need to? How much could you take from the benches? Up to 71 Dayanim. So if you have two benches plus the Dayanim, you have 23. Plus two rows, that makes it 69. So the third bench should have been only two to make it 71. Yeah. No, we say we have to have 23 because we can't have a small bench.
More Talmidim than you had.
Yeah, more Talmidim than you had Dayanim. Correct. So what happens? He says that each one of the Talmidim that sat, Makes Mekayim knew exactly that place. First of all, the first row was the Cheshves Derabanim. Were the more qualified. The next row was less qualified, and the third row, the Talmidim in the last row was least qualified. And the ones in the benches, in the benches itself, you had only also whoever was seated up front. Those were the ones the cheshuvas. That it sounds like you're saying that somebody wanted to buy a seat next to the Rav. You should look like a chashuv guy, and then he asked. He asked the Rav, he wanted to show he has a shayla. He says, it's a kasa state, Adam u'behema to Shia Hashem. We come to Adam leben ma behema. He says, told me the leg doch. Anyway, so each one knew exactly his place. So he says, if they needed another dayan, because one dayan passed away. So
from the 23.
From the regular dayanim who were, so they would pull out one from the bench, Simchim, Min Harishayna, they would take from the first bench, because the first bench,
these were
Talmidim, and they would give them smicha. They would pull one guy from there. If one of the Dayanim passed away, that were judging. And they would be masmechim. And who did they choose from the first row? They were the cheshuvas, the most qualified, and the top one. Echad min hashniya, and then one from the shniya would have to balay l'rishayna. We have to fill up the place of the first row. But where would he go in the first row? The lowest. Because the top of the second was the Lagabi, the first one was the lowest.
Even when they put it in the row,
they put him on the last.
Also was chashuv. This is the chashuv. This is
right. In the row itself, sure, you had the cheshuvas there. They put him on the bottom of the list. And then the top of the shlishis, but the shniya would go to the end of the shniya. And then they had to fill up the third bench because now we became less than 23. They moved them up. So they take the most qualified people from the tzibur, and they would sit him in the empty seat that was empty in the third row. Then they made sure that he wouldn't go, whoever moved up to the next bench, didn't go as a leader, came as the last one on the bench. The lowest one, like I explained before.
I have to repeat this. We just explained
No,
it.
I told you that. I'm telling you what it said further. He would sit on the bench where his level was. From where do we learn this? It says in the pasuk. Meaning, where do we know that they sat the chatzi eagle in a half a circle? So we learn out from the pasuk. It says Sareich Agansar al Yasa Mezek. So what is Sareich? Sareich, he says, Zu is a muscle of Sanhedrin. Sareich means the stomach, the navel. Okay? Why do they call it Sareich? Because the Sanhedrin are sitting in the center of the world, just like the navel, the belly button is in the center of the body. So too, the Bezdin sat in the center of the world. Where was that? In the Beis Hamikdash, in the Lishkas Hagazis. And like it says, the Beis Hamikdash was B'emtzei Shalayla. And that's where the Sanhedrin sat. Agan, what does it mean, Agan? Agan means that they protect the whole world. V'hasar, what is this? Sar means the moon. It's similar to the Levana. Masha is Levana is a full round circle. Where do you come up with a Chatz eagle? So the Masha explains that there's a difference. If you'd want to say that you needed a full circle, then you would have compared it to the sun. Because the moon sometimes is small, but it's a half a circle. That's why he compared it to the moon, to tell you Chatzi eagle, because sometimes the moon is Chatzi eagle. If you needed a full round circle, you would have gone and king in the sun. That's the marker of the light of the moon.
Sometimes it's smaller, so you don't need a full circle.
Where? The moon is smaller.
So
Right, so he wanted to bring out that they sat in a Chatzi circle. So by strong wine, you had to put 2/3 of water that you should be able to drink it. So it says, the same thing as with the Bati Dinim. The Dayanim. Dayanim, if you had 71 Dayanim, right? The least you could go is a third lower. That means he counts 69. It's really 23. You can't have less than 23. The other two, Rashi says you can't count the other two because the other two you can't divide it by 3. So you talk the highest division by 3, that's how we go, which is 69. And the third, you can't go less than the highest division that you could by dividing by 3. What would be a third of the 71? It would be 69. I mean, it would be 69, and a third would mean 23. If one had to go do his business, he needed to do a davar reshus. Of course, for Bar Mitzvah, he would be able to leave. But if it was a davar reshus, then in the back. If there's 23 dayanim that will be left over, Keneged Sanhedrin Katana Yotzet, then he's allowed to leave. If he leaves and there'll be 23 left over dayanim,
There could be 23 left over.
why not? Out of the 71 people
Oh,
left,
you have 71.
one, then they left, up to 23. But if
have bathroom time.
no, they can do whatever they need to do, business-wise or whatever.
Middle of the,
It's not a middle, but you had to have dayanim. You had to have all day. They had to be there. That's the halacha. That's what it says.
More than one case.
Yeah, the Sanhedrin had to Sanhedrin Ketana. A minimum had to be a Sanhedrin Ketana. They cannot leave. I think Rashi brings it down either. Let me just bring down. Okay, that what I told you already.
If there's not going to be, so you can't go to the bathroom.
No, bathroom. Yes, he meant. It means that he went out for his own. He brings down Tam Din Zesh Bechol Shah Yashul Apachs Esma Shloisha Dayanim. All the time there was at least 23 Dayanim b'Makam HaSanhedrin, like I just told you. Muzbal Pi Hadimian Leyayim Mazug. That the marshal for it that they give is like when it comes to diluting a strong wine, they had to do 2/3 water. So there's is, and we're counting only 69, not 72, because the other two you can't divide by 3. You do the highest number that you can go closest to 71 is 69. So the third of 69 is 23. That's the minimum. if one had to leave for a davar reshus, he could not leave if it would be less than 23 dayanim. But if it was for a mitzvah, you're allowed. The 23 dayanim have to sit there all the time. Okay, says the Gemara. So
They sat there every day?
yeah. In fact, the Gemara, it says Mondays. It depends on the big cities. No, here by Lishkas Hagazis, it was all the time.
And this goes as also,
All the
that
time.
was talking about 71. This is Lishkas
Lishkas Hagazis 71, but if they had to leave, up to 23 had to be the minimum. So the Gemara, okay, if it was less than 23. Bitnech, Aremas Chitim. Bitnech, over here means a pile of wheat. So what does that mean? Just like when it comes to a pile of wheat, everybody has hana from it. Here, you see over here?
Yeah, I know.
So he says, so too, what do we have enough from chitim? We eat donuts. No, we can make donuts out of chitim. Good stuff. So pretzels, whatever you need. When it comes to the Sanhedrin, everybody had enough from their reasoning, from their svaris and how they concluded a din. Suga bashashanin, a wall of roses. Shafilu, even if the Yidden are not separated from Aveda only through a little warning, tis suga shel shashanin, like a wall of roses, lo yifzu b'hem pratzis. They wouldn't break the wall, meaning they wouldn't be over the Aveda. So this koifer said to Rav Kahana, Amrisu, you guys say, Nida, Sharili Yachudu B'Hadei Gabra. While she's a Nida, she's allowed to be together with her husband. Not intimate, but allowed to be in the same room. Says he, how could that be? He asked. The Koifer. Avsha, Eish Ben Hayes, Veinam have listen, they have Yetzaharas. They're in the same room. I mean, the fire won't kindle, it won't stop firing. I mean, it stop burning. They'll get together. It's a fire on delicate flax. You don't think it's going to start singeing and catching on fire? Meaning, it doesn't make sense. They both have Yitzhak. They catch on fire real fast. That's the dangerous things.
No, because he's married to her,
so therefore what?
It's different.
So he says, Amalei Hatayna either Aleinu Suga B'Sheshanim. Over here, the Torah testifies that even a wall of roses will be enough of a separation. Shafilu, even if the Yidden are not separated from Avedas by a brick wall, like just Kisuga B'Sheshanim, just like a wall of roses, lo yivtzu b'hem pratzis. We don't have to worry; they're going to be eba aveda. The Shlach says from here. It says kipelach harimim rak kosech, like the part of the pomegranate.
Where are these?
Shir Hashem. This one kipelach harimim rak kosech, like a part of the pomegranate rak kosech. Rak kosech is the temple. And he says, don't read rak kosech. Rei kosech is empty. Even those that the post matters, the empty ones by you, are filled with mitzvahs like a pomegranate. This is the famous story with the Satmar Chassan that passed by the Rebbe, and each one said the opposite view. And the Rebbe says you have to look l'schus, and he looked l'cheva. I'm not going to go through now. I have no time. Rabbi Zayda, maybe at the end. Rabbi Zayda says, Mehacha. Rabbi Zayda says, from here we learn out. By the Birchas Yitzchak to Yaakov, what did Yaakov do? What did Rivka do? She put him on the sheepskin so he should feel like Esau. It says, he smelled the begadim of Yaakov, which it smelled like the smell of Gan Eden. Yeah, and so, Al Tiki Begadav, don't read Begadav, Ela Begdav. Say, even the reyach of the beg that you saw, because normally sheepskin, if it's Yeshachten, it smells. And he smelled the reich of Hashem, Yitzchak. How? They're telling you that even of these rebellious people who go against the words of Hashem, they're also good. They too have some mitzvahs and schusim. There was these low, in Yiddish we say, nidikebriyas, low lives, who lived in the neighborhood of Rabbi Zayda. The Hav Mekarev Lahu, that Rabbi Zayda was a Lubavitcher, he was being Mekarev then. To the Yiddish guys, yeah. In order they should be Chayz B'Tshuvah. They should do tshuva.
Shiva.
Yeah, I have a cup there, Rabbanan. And the Chacham were makrid, like the Satmar makrid on us. The Chacham were makrid. What are you doing? What's the low lights? You know, when Rabbi Zera passed away, till now, have a charicha cut in the shake. They called him the short singed one on his thighs. The short person whose thighs was
That's what
singed.
they refer to Rabbi Zera.
That's how they first Rabbi Zera. Have a boy
Person's tie.
that his thighs were singed. I'll soon get it. I'll tell you soon. They said these lowlifes. This guy, Rabbi Zera, used to take care of us. He used to pray for us. He had pity for us. Who's going to come and daven for us? Oh, so that caused them to do tshuva because they knew Rabbi Zera was very close, brought them close, but they didn't take that leap. But once Rabbi Zera passed away, the whole Iris in them woke up. Their whole heart was awake and they did tshuva. What was it with Rabbi Zera? Rabbi Zera, we know him fasted many times, 100 fasts at a time. One time he fasted just to forget Talmud Bavli because he moved to Eretz Yisrael and he wanted to do Yerushalmi. There's another story with Rabbi Zera. He fasted 100 times that Rabbi Lezer should be cured because he was afraid if Rabbi Lezer passes away, who he carried all the burden of Askonis and everything, he was afraid it's going to come to him. So he fasted 100 Tainesim that he should be healed. Then he also fasted another 100 Tainesim that he wanted to make sure that the Gehenna will not affect him. So after he fasted 100 Tainesim, he used to go into fire to see if he'll be singed.
Check with the fire.
Yeah, he checked with the fire. Yeah, in those times they did.
literal.
A lot of the Tanoim did Sigufim in those times, just to they shouldn't have the Gehenna affect them. Anyway, so it was perfect.
Can we try it out? Can we try it out?
I don't know. I'm not trying. So he says like this. So he was good, but one time Talmidei Chacham saw what's going on. There was Ayin Hara and he got singed. Okay, Shalosh Shuris. There were 3 rows of Talmidei Chacham, like we said, and then one of the Yonim passed away. So all the Shuris stopped moving around, and from the back row moves to the second row to the first row.
Everybody had to move.
Everybody had to move, but everyone in their
Some
position.
moved from the top to the next
No,
row. and
well,
some had
but
to move
the
along the
movement-
row.
Okay, look what happens. Abai said, "Shmami no, here we seek you. When they moved, everybody had to move.
Yeah.
Okay, who? The Talmud said to the others, Ada Yidna Havi Yosef no Bereisha. Till now, I was the top of the second row, and now they put me in the bottom of the third row. I had the Grasta Klubid. I was the whole leader on the second row, and now I became the son of. I became a little tail in the front row.
You understand that?
They were moved from positions.
I can understand.
And but he went to the third row. He became just nothing. You tell this guy like this: it's better, heavy son of La'arayis. It's better to be a tail of lions, and not to be a head of foxes. It's much better.
Therefore, even though you were
So he'll calm
even though
down.
You were the first one on the second row, but now that you moved to the bottom
That's
row,
the head of the
you're going
fox.
to be at the end. Right?
So, but you'll be at least a tail to the lions.
With the Choshev Dika guys.
Ja, Gees wird Menschen. Ja, sagt der Mishnah, Kates mir Amin Edim Shaleiden the Fashis. How would they threaten the Edim when it came to deal with Nefesh, whether he should be convicted or not? Ja, sagt der Heilige Mishnah, Kates hat mir Amin Edim Shaleiden the Fashis. How do we threaten the Edim that they shouldn't lie when it comes to Edim the Fashis, life or death, when testifying on such a thing? They would bring them into Beis and they would threaten them. They would tell them, maybe you're just assuming. And we know assume is like you make a jack out of you and me. It's not a good thing. So he says, we shmur, maybe so you heard it, it's just a shmur. You guys heard hearsay. Or that you guys heard from other Edom that claimed that they had seen, so you heard that they said they had seen. That's no good. Or you say, I heard from a Chesher guy. That's not saying. I'm talking about the guy who had a long one he heard from. So yeah, so the mother Shema atem yodim shesayv feinu. Listen, maybe you guys don't know what we're going to do at the end with you. You're going to say Edus, and you know what we're going to do? We're going to start questioning you. We're going to call you in each separately, and we're going to catch you by a lie. It's not so simple. And then we'll take care of you. So you have to, this is how they scare them all. The Mishnah, and we also say to him, heavy Yiddish, like it in the mamas, in the fashes. You should know, Dinim Mamas is not, don't think it's a game here. Monetary stuff is not like when you're coming to a person convicting of death, life or death. A person, he said a lie, okay, we'll reimburse him. And you'll pay up and goodbye. His blood that you killed on your false aid is not only him, but his children. You're going to suffer from them. It's going to haunt you. We find that Cain killed Hevel. And what does it say? It says plural. The sound of the bloods screaming to me. It doesn't say Yachid Dam. To teach us that Cain is going to suffer. They're both going to scream, not just the dam of Hevel, but his children. That his blood was splattered all over the wood and the stone because he kept on stabbing him. He didn't know where the neshama comes out from. Stabbing in the stomach, in his foot, in his hands. So the neshama wasn't going out till he figured it out by the neck, and that's how he killed him. Therefore, a person is born, Hashem created one person. Okay? From that one person came the whole world. To teach us, somebody who kills a person is like killing a whole world. Oh, it works the reverse too. It works the reverse, but if you keep him alive, and you find chosim in it, it's like you've made a whole world. It says, also because of Shalom Habriyas, they wish to made one person. Why? My father is greater than your father. So his Davish made one man, and from him came all the people. Humanity. From him came humanity. Okay. Also, that these koifrim shouldn't say, there are many gods in the heaven, and this God created this Yankheim, the other God made Ichemotche, and then Shmuel, I don't know whatever. So they're going to say it's all different gods. So that's why, in order to know the greatness of Hashem as one, when a person makes a template, maybe a form, and that template is for, you can make a lot of coins, but they're all the same coins. Like you make the quarters, they make that template, it's going to be all the same, right? Hashem is different. He made the template of Adam Arishain, but Hashem made a different looks of each person, even though it was one template.
Different DNA.
Different DNA. Very good. That's the right word. Okay, and therefore each person is is obligated to say, I'm considered like Olam Malay because from me come out the descendants, and they wish to make each person different. Okay, and maybe a person will say, hey, who needs such a tzara to go into, even if it's true, my testimony, what do I have to catch my mistake? I need this headache to haunt me. I might make a mistake. I don't want to deal with it. It says, hey, you can't. It says, if you're not going to tell the Adis that you know, you'll carry a sin. Oh, so he says, I'll be over that little list. What do I need? This whole yachif and cup that has to show him something wrong to come out. Says, the Abish is happy. If the Rasha deserves to die, he should be killed. The Abish wants he should be killed. And there's Rina, joy from that. So if I can.
This, I think, was a bias. What do I have to go to court every day and sit on judgment of people? I can stay home. So he says, you're doing what you have to do.
You have to. Okay.
Be so concerned.
Here it's even further. The Abish is happy. The Abish wants to make its obligation. Get rid of that Rasha. How do you warn a person? Don't say this from your assumption. Says the dying says to him, maybe this is what you saw. The dying says, maybe you saw that one person was running after the other, that you were running after a person into a ruined house. How do you call it? The ruins of a building. A person was running after another person into a chorba, and you ran after them. And when you came in, you came in, you see the guy's holding a sword, and the blood is dripping from the sword. The harik mefarfe, and the one that's dying is gasping for air, gasping for life, but he's dying, he's shaking. In kachreis, if that's what you saw nothing. It's not a good edus. And the Gemara brings a story. Tanya, we learn in the story. We know many stories. He's with the witches, and he had a whole cholam, how to get rid of the witches. Anyway, Ereb Nechama, he says, I won't see comfort im lo yisi echad sherotz echad machabeirei lechova, v'datz the acharov. He says, I had seen how one guy was running after another to kill him in a churba. I ran after him. But I have seen this guy, once I came in, it's too late. I saw him holding the sword with the blood dripping from his sword. The harik mefarfe, and the one that's dying is gasping for life, and he's shaking, he's about to die. I said, Russia, wicked one. Who was the one that killed this guy? With only two that are here. It's either me or you. Meaning it's you. What should I do? Your blood is not in my hands to be able to punish you. I'm 1/8. And plus, I didn't see you actually kill him. You must have mace. It has to be two Adam for a mace to die. I mean, to convict a person for killing to die. But the Eibishter who knows the thoughts of a person, Hashem should take revenge from that person who killed this person. Amru. So it says from this story, Lo Yizazu. Shimon ben Shetach didn't get even a chance to move. Misham Achabanachas Mekishu. He didn't get him, within minutes before he left. Before he left, Nachash came and bit this person who killed, and he died. Umeis, and he died. This Netzech deserved to die by the biting of a snake. Rav Yisrael had said, and so too in the yeshiva of Chizkiah they said, even from the day that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, even though the Sanhedrin was in this battle, Abba Mises like battle, but the 4 Mises were not battle. Now we say Yom Shechar Beis Hamikdash means that the Sanhedrin weren't sitting there, so they couldn't paskin anymore on Din Nefashis. But the truth is, it says even 40 years before that, they were already not sitting there. So the Mashal says no, but there were certain occasions they would come to sit in the Lishas HaGazes to paskin. So you're saying that Abba Mrs. Bezdin was not batul? Well, batul. The Sanhedrin stopped sitting there. After the Churban, surely it was batul. So Abba Mrs. like batul. It means the punishment of 4 Mises still existed, even though the Bezdin wasn't giving it. Lamashal, Mishan is Chayiv Skila. Somebody was Chayiv Skila. What would the Eibishter do? This guy would either fall from a rooftop, or a Chaya would jump and make him fall to the ground, and he would trot over him like the stones make a person into pieces. Mishan is Chayiv Sefer. Somebody was Chayiv Sefer. Either he falls into a fire, or a snake bites him and his whole insides burn and he dies. Mishan is Chayiv Hariga. Somebody was Chayiv for that his head should be cut off, becheref, or how it's called herek, or nimzal malchus. Either he gets given over to the melucha, to the government, to the king, and he gets his throat slit, or he lists him by love, or robbers come and slit his neck. Mishan is chayiv chanek. Somebody was chayiv choking. Either he drowns in the river, or he makes bisrunki. It's a disease, a machla that the person would die from choking.
Diphtheria.
What is it called?
Diphtheria.
Diphtheria. Okay. Says the Gemara. So now we have a kasha. How did he die by sreifa? His punishment was herek for killing that person. By Shimon Shetach's story, this person shouldn't have been killed. It should by a nachash because that's sreifa, and he's supposed to get a herek.
It could be the Benechash could be tie himself around the person.
No, it's not the story. It says he was bitten. He kisha, yeah. And the one this person had another sin in which he was not only chayiv for herek, but he was chayiv for seifa. So the mama, mission chayiv shnei Mrs. Besdin, and the Tana said somebody's chayiv two Mrs. Besdin. Need b'chamura. You give him the harsher one, and that's why he died with seifa, which is nachash is seifa over herek. So the
venom is venom.
It's seifa. Says the Gemara, we threatened the nefashis, and we asked them, maybe you're saying from assumptions, because and you really didn't see the actual aveya. Anyway, it says the Gemara, these 5 things is mashma. But din nefashis who do I am on? Dafka by din nefashis, we don't judge according to assumptions. But by din nefashis, maybe we follow. By din is monetary law. Maybe we follow.
Who speak about din mammon now?
The Mishnah also spoke about din mammon. But he's saying by din nefashis, maybe since you're mentioning this whole threat, all these types of threats, maybe you heard of APA, maybe it was just an assumption. There you were talking about din nefashis. Maybe by din mammon you could base it on assumptions. Says you want to know? Come on. Like Rabbi Yacha, the Tanya would learn from Rabbi Yacha, Gamol, ha'oicher ben ha'gmal. Now Gamol, the way they live together is back to back. So they're back, yes, and they were tzenuim. And if any animal was around, they give it a kick, and that the animal would die. So anyway, Nimsa Gamol Harig, but see that they found a Gamol that was dead on the side. The Yadua Shazer Harageh, but it's known that these 2 animals were living together and didn't want anybody to look, and he happened to be there. So that animal was killed. So 1 minute, and we based on it. So we based on assumption. We didn't see it killed. Says the Gemara. So Racha says Alpha P Shaloi need a mice and we didn't see the mice and nezek, but we'll machayiv the guy to pay our payment. The 2 animals, and the animal that kicked it, we assumed that was the animal. It should, the owner of the animal should pay. According to your reasoning, we said is possible by din nefashis hudalayam dinan. You can say by din mamanis you can base testimony about hearing from another aid, but now we learned in the Mishnah. Im Amar, if the aid said, "Who Amali?" That person told me that Reuben lent Shimon money. Shani chayiv loy, that I owe the teveya, or ish pleni, meaning that person owes the teveya. Ish pleni Amali shehu chayiv loy, or that person told me that the nitva chayiv owes him money. It means nothing. It's just from another person. It's aid me paid. Acha yema till he says before Neno in front of us, meaning the malva and the leva, the nitva and the nitva and the teveya. That the nitva was made into the teveya. Only then we'll accept such testimony. So we see Afagav the psil dinim mamanis, even though we see aid me paid is a psul by dinim mamanis. But where do we mention the psul of aid mid that when they're threatening the aid? We're saying it by din nefashis, but really it's applicable also by din mamanis. Here too we should say afagav the psil of din mamanis, even though that the umdanus is possible by din mamanis. They said it by din nefashis as a threat. They said maybe he's saying it on assumption. So the threat was by din nefashis, not as much as by din mamanis. But really, umdanis is not acceptable by din mamanis either. So you might have a yodim. They say you should know there's a difference between din mamanis and din nefashis. And he says by din nefashis, kol demei achicha tzeikim. The voice of the bloods of Hevel.
You mentioned that before.
Yeah, that's the words in the Mishnah. I'm saying it now. Now we're going to learn the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda, the son of Rabbi Chia, said, "Malabin she'asar kayim behevel achiv chaburis p'tziyis shaloi hayedei mehechel neshama yetzer." From here we learn out that Cain was wounding Hevel with a whole bunch of wounds because he didn't know from where the neshama comes out from. Ad she'higil atzabari, till he reached his neck, and that's where the neshama left. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Chia. No,
They tried everything.
He tried. He was stabbing him all over. So that's what it means. It splattered all over the eights mavanim. From the day that the earth opened up its mouth, and it absorbed the blood of Hevel, it didn't open its mouth anymore in the middle. We heard only from the end of the earth, the corner of the earth, the Zmires. Tzvila Tzadik, we heard the Shidz V'Sishbaches, but only from where? From the end of the earth, not from the middle Mipiyah. Miknaf Haaretz, blame Mipiyah Haaretz, because the Piyah Haaretz absorbed the blood of Hevel. That's why it stopped saying Zmires from Mipiyah Haaretz. Asa, affecting really? Chizkiah Achiv is the kasha from the following pasuk. It says, "Vatiftach Haaretz as Piyah, v'til Loisam." Chizkiah Achiv. So he says over here 30. Yehuda and Chizkiah were twins of Rabbi Chia. We spoke about Rabbi Yehuda before. Rabbi Yehuda was the son of Rabbi Chia. He spoke about how Cain was trying to kill Hevel, and he says that the earth doesn't open up its mouth anymore because it absorbed the blood of Hevel. So Chizkiah, his twin brother, Yehuda's brother, who said this that it doesn't open its mouth. It says by the mouth did open up and swallow it. It says it only opened up its mouth for the evil, but for Zmires it didn't open up its mouth, only to swallow. Golus forgives on half of a person's sins. It says, it says about Cain, he was roaming all over the place. Then it says at the end, no, he's settled because he went through the Golus of Navanot. Golus forgives on three things. Like it says, whoever will stay in this city, this is what it seems like Yimya was saying, you're going to get killed by either sword, hunger, or pestilence. But somebody will go, will go to Babel, which will be, of course, a tsar for you. You're going to live. You'll make it through. Goes forgives on everything. Hashem, so says Hashem, Yechanya Melech Yehuda was he sinned very badly. And he got a curse. This guy will be without kids for the rest of his life. He won't be successful to have a child to sit and continue the throne of David. While he was still ruling in Yehuda, but after he went to exile, it says, and so it shows that he continued. It says that he had a son, Shaltiel, and the Melucha continued. And so it says, what's Asa? Asa means, he says his son was Asa, it means that she was pregnant, she got pregnant from her husband while they were in jail. What does that mean? Shaltiel shesalik kale shalek keterchan shalom. They just planted a baby in her stomach, not the normal way. Meaning we learn a woman cannot become pregnant standing. But over here, she got pregnant standing. Because the jail was very narrow, and the only way they could live together is standing. And she had a child. Another pshat. Shaltiel shenishal al osay kale. David gave a shvua. David was marshal his shvua, his mate his shvua, because he went to Golus. Zerubbabel, what is Zerubbabel? Zerubbabel sheniz Zerubbabel, because she gave birth in Babel to this child. What was his true name? Nehemiah ben Chachal Yishmai. Nehemiah ben Chachal.